Alright, welcome back to the Next Gen Garage series. We're getting ready to start the rear side of the car. And we're going to work with the left rear today, or at least for the next couple of videos. And we're going to do like we did with the front. We're going to skip the shock collar offset, because that's basically used for adjusting cross weight and for adjusting ride height. So we're going to jump right into spring rate. Now, if you remember from the other videos on the springs that were used on the front suspension, the same basic principles apply here. The spring rate, again, measured in inch-pounds, which means 600 pounds per square inch, to compress the spring. And the heavier the spring, the more weight the spring is going to draw on the car. So for the left rear, we're going to go ahead and see how that affects the car. So we're going to look at what our minimum is. Looks like 400, and our maximum. So it looks like we can get to a 1,500 pound spring, between 400 and 1,500 on the left rear. And it was at 650 to start with. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to set that down to the 400 while leaving everything else the same, and go out and get a feel for the car. Actually, let's go ahead and cancel that. Alright, 1642 is ride height. Remember, whenever you change springs, you got to change the ride height. So 1642 is our target ride height. So let's bring that up to 1642. And 1643, that's the closest I think we're going to get with it. So that should give us get us in the ballpark for that. Let's go out and see what happens. Also, we want to set these to all evens, just like we did on the other one, so they ain't really making an effect. And we'll go out and run the car. Actually, we'll do the same thing with the what's the maximum right side spring that we can go to. $4,500. And our minimum spring on the right rear that we can go to is going to be looks like 400. So we're going to go ahead and reset the springs to the original value. So we got 650 with a 1642. We got 2000. So we'll leave the right rear spring alone, and we'll set the left rear spring to 400. So this is as low as it goes. Apply it. Set our ride heights to 1642 or thereabouts. Oh, there we go. 1643. As close as we're going to get it. So we're going to go ahead and go out and get ready to take a run on the car and see what we got. Alright, here we are back in the car. We're going to go ahead and get it started up. We'll go out and see if we can get a feel for how the car drives with that left rear spring as soft as possible. shut the car off. And we're going to jump back to the garage. And what we're going to go ahead and do now is we're going to go ahead and set our spring rate for the rear. Remember, we're playing with the rear now. We're going to go up as maximum amount, which is 1500, as high as we can go with this. So we're going to set this to apply and drop this back down to 1640. 1645 looks like that's as close as we're going to get. So let's go ahead and take it out and see what it does with the stiffer spring. I'm thinking it's going to make the car a little tighter. Ever so slightly tighter. Okay, that should be all we need here, so let's go ahead and stop. And we'll get out of the car. So basically our rear springs, left rear spring, the stiffer the spring, the tighter the exit, which I did kind of notice. And if you soften the spring, it usually makes the car loose or loosens it up on entry. And I can feel a little bit of a difference, but not a significant one. So the left rear spring doesn't make a big difference, but it does make enough of a difference that you should be able to notice it. Look. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump back into our garage. And we're going to give this thing a rear spring rate of about 800. And we'll go ahead and set this to our correct ride height. So we got to drop this guy down to 1640-ish. $16.44 is about as close as it's going to get, so we'll go ahead and apply that. And we're going to go ahead and set the right rear spring down as low as it'll go. And our 2294 is our right height on this side. So we got to go down. 2294. And there we go. So let's take her out and we'll drive it and see what it feels like with this right rear really soft. This should make the car tighten up, particularly coming off the corner. So that gives us our, that gives us what the softest setting will do. Now we're going to go ahead and come over and we're going to set the stiffer setting. So let's take it up to the 4500. And this should make the car really, this should loosen the car up. Alright, there's a 4500. And drop this back down to the, actually I gotta remember where we were at there, the 2294. We'll set her back up. 2294 is our ride height. Go ahead and apply that. So we got to raise the ride height and the rear up to 2294. 2292 is going to be as close as we're going to get to that. So this, and we want to set all these back to 5s. That's what they should have been at, but anyway. Because we don't really want the shocks to interfere with it. So this should make the car looser. In fact, it might actually be too loose with that right here. Instead of the but we'll see. On the last one, you're having trouble keeping it off the wall. Come down about the middle of the track when you come out of the corner. So it definitely got more turn to it. Alright, we'll go ahead and stop the car. And get out. So basically, the way your springs work, as a kind of a quick recap, we're going to go back to the chassis, down to the springs. So for the right rear spring, the softer the spring, the tighter the car. The stiffer the spring, the looser the car. And we'll go ahead and call that pretty much ready to go. We'll take this back to a 2,000 pound spring. That, take that back to 2290. So we got to go up. And whenever you're adjusting your shock collars to adjust your ride height, it goes backwards from what you're expecting it to do. So in order to make the ride height of the car rise, you've got to click the left arrow, which which would most people will think would be down, but it's actually back asswards. So, all right, so we're ready to now start playing with shocks, and we'll do that in the next lesson. And we'll see you then.